Have you ever wondered what the real influencing factors are that determine the price of a Counter-Strike case? Well, buckle up, because today we are diving deep into the factors that shape the prices of these virtual cases. From the basics to strategies that could make your case investments really worthwhile. We've got it all, so stick around until the end for exclusive tips and tricks. Oh, and we also have a surprise for you that you'll definitely find useful. So if you're ready to take your CSGO case game to the next level, let's get started. The goal of this video is to help you understand the basic mechanic of Counter-Strike cases. You should grasp the main criteria that determine the price of cases, so you can conduct independent analysis in the future to make the most out of your case investments. Make sure to stick around until the end of this video, where we will give you specific tips and proven practices for investing in Counter-Strike cases. If you are having trouble keeping track of your investments, their performance and your profit after fees, make sure to download our Google spreadsheet template from the description. The template automatically updates the market prices of your cases so that you don't have to do it manually. The link is in the description down below. Let's start with the basic functioning of Counter-Strike cases. Introduced by Valve in 2013, a case contains case-specific skins and rare special items, like knives or gloves, that can be obtained when you open a case. But once a case is opened, it's consumed and deleted. You can only get a case through your weekly drop. The specific case that you can get depends on the current drop pool. 99% of the time, you will get one of 5 cases that are currently in the active drop pool. When a new case is released, it replaces one of the 5 cases from the active drop pool, which then moves to the rare drop pool. The chance for a drop from this pool is 1%, but it's spread across the 28 cases that are currently in this pool. Now the question arises, what are the main factors that influence the price now and in the future? Just to clarify, the Steam community market and all third-party markets work like any other market based on supply and demand. The price of a good is determined by the interplay of supply and demand on the market. If the demand goes up, while the supply remains constant, prices usually go up, and vice versa. In this case, the supply is the number of cases that are offered, directly related to the number of cases that are dropped. So if a case moves from the active drop pool to the rare drop pool, the supply side changes, causing the prices to rise with the same demand, or in other words, the number of cases opened or purchased. Now let's find out which cases are likely to skyrocket in the future and how to predict their demand. To see which case is opened the most, you can check the monthly open case numbers on CSGO Case Tracker. These numbers aren't 100% accurate, but provide a good estimate based on analyzed account data. They give a pretty good idea of how often, for example, a snakebite case is opened compared to other cases. This gives insight into the actual interest in skins within a case. As a side note, if you want data directly from Valve, you can look at the opening data from China. They are obliged to publish sporadic and live data on what people are pulling. This can indicate which case is opened and how often compared to others. However, this data are specific to China and have a slight distortion of reality. Another good indicator on whether a case is opened is the ROI, or return on investment. You can check this, for example, at CSGO Case ROIs. It indicates the average expected return percentage compared to the amount that you spend on opening the case. For each item, the price of the item is multiplied by the probability. The results of all items are added together and divided by the case price. If it's 100%, you would on average get back as much as you spent. But in reality, ROIs are of course much lower. If the prices of the skins in the case are high, that gives an indication for a high demand on the skins. Additionally, a high ROI can suggest that the case price is relatively undervalued compared to other cases. The case price, along with the key price, forms the ROI and the ratio to the return, or in other words, the profit. Now, we've talked a lot about the demand side, but what about the equally crucial supply side determining the price? Unfortunately, assessing the supply is not as straightforward. There's no data on how many pieces of a case currently exist. However, there are a few ways to estimate the quantity. What we know is how likely it is to get a case dropped and how long a case has been in the active drop pool. If a case like the fracture case has been in the active drop pool for 3 years, the supply is generally higher than a case that has only been in the drop pool for 1 year. But a variable that must be considered in this calculation is how high the player number was during this period. Because if, for example, only half of the players played between 2018 and 2020 that they are now, a case can only be dropped half as often as it can be now. As you can see, the topic is a bit complicated. And unfortunately, as far as we know, there is still a lack of well-processed numbers. However, what you should definitely always look at is which drop pool a case is in. We wouldn't invest in cases from the active drop pool, because the quantity of the cases is still increasing, affecting the supply side of the market. We recommend focusing on cases from the rare and discontinued drop pools. Both can be attractive, and it's worth mentioning that even though rare cases can still potentially be dropped, the quantity compared to the number of open cases is close to zero. The probability of getting a specific case from the rare drop pool is 1% divided by 28, so 0.036%. In contrast, the probability of getting a specific case from the active drop pool is 99% divided by 5, so close to 20%. This is approximately 555 times higher than the probability of getting a specific case from the rare drop pool. Every case from the rare drop pool is dropped an estimated 100 to 400 times per day, depending on the player numbers. That's between 3,000 and 12,000 per month. When you put that into perspective with how many cases are opened in a month, you can see how quickly the case inventory is going down. According to Case Tracker, the clutch case was opened approximately 940,000 times last month. Now that we know what the main influencing factors are, how should we weigh them in our evaluation? I would say the drop pool, or in other words the supply, is the prerequisite and foundation of the decision. After that, I would give the most importance to the number of open cases, because it shows the most rationally how much interest there is in the case. In my opinion, the ROI plays a relatively subordinate role compared to the other factors. There are a few significant moments like the Steam summer sale or the release of a new operation when the market crashes temporarily. People liquidate their items, including cases, to get Steam credit for new games or the operation pass. Since more people create sell listings than on a normal day, driven by the trigger of the Steam summer sale or the operation pass, the supply side shifts. As we've learned, the larger supply with constant demand shifts the price down. So it's always a good idea to have some money ready for such moments. However, apart from such recurring patterns, it's extremely difficult to time the market and buy, for example, at a very low price point. There's a saying in the financial world: time in the market beats timing the market. Because while you wait and try to catch on a low point, you might potentially miss out on profits. But let's talk about how to minimize risks when investing. If you want to avoid buying at exactly the wrong time, at the highest price, you can buy in tranches over a period of days or months. This way, you get the average purchase price through the different price points, the cost average effect. This minimizes the risk of buying at the worst time, because your purchase price is based on the average of all purchase points. Another saying in the financial world is that you should never put all your eggs into one basket. So never only buy one case as an investment, because then you have a high concentration risk. Your profit depends on exactly one case. If it performs poorly, you make little or below average profit. However, if you buy a selection of interesting cases, it's no problem if one case underperforms, because it's balanced by others that perform better. In the end, your profit is again the average performance of all your investments, and you have a greater chance of benefiting from it. So we know that the main influencing factors are supply and demand. Demand can be estimated by the number of open cases and the return on investment. On the supply side, it's more complicated, but it's worth focusing on the cases from the rare and discontinued drop pool, because they are not or very rarely dropped, and therefore become scarcer through the active opening of cases. So when is the best time to invest? Significant moments like the Steam summer sale or new operations can lead to short-term market crashes, ideal for purchasing. However, timing is hard to predict, and the saying "time in the market beats timing the market" emphasizes the importance of long-term thinking. Risk minimization is crucial. The cost average effect can be achieved by purchasing over a period of time. Also, you should never put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify your investments to minimize your concentration risk and profit from various cases. If you enjoyed this video and learned something from it, feel free to leave a like. If you missed any information or tips, leave them in the comments. We're excited to hear your opinions, and we look forward to continuing learning with you together. See you in the next video.